Unichain has launched. That's Uniswap's own L2. They were already operating on several other chains besides ETH. Last year, with the proliferation of ETH L2s, lots of people were using Arbitrum, Optimism, and Base. We saw kind of a flight of liquidity, maybe from ETH to those L2s. And we're going to talk about today, you know, what is the future of Ethereum, given that the L2s seem to be competing with it? We'll talk about that today on Dead Cat Crypto. Here's a recent tweet from Hayden Adams, founder or co-founder of Uniswap, and he's announcing Unichain, which again is Uniswap's L2. It's an ETH L2, has processed 150 million in DEX volume. That's on the brand new chain. So this tells me two things. Number one, people are going to use Uniswap no matter what chain it's on. I've used it on Base. I've used it on ETH, right? I'm going to use Unichain as well at some point. The second thing this tells me is that ETH, which is largely dependent on Uniswap to generate revenue for Ethereum, they're going to lose a ton of revenue. It's going to go out the door to the L2s where the transactions are just cheaper. The main takeaway for me from this article is that Uniswap has been really the critical driver of activity on ETH. The most basic thing you can do in crypto is to swap one token for the next. Uniswap, with that classic UI, it's very clear what to do from the end user's perspective. You put in the token that you've got, you put in the token that you want, you click, 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 and you do the swap. And that's it. And Ethereum benefited greatly from this, as we'll see. The article paints kind of a bleak picture for ETH, although I don't think it was that bad. I know the ETH token kind of underperformed other DeFi tokens, but overall held up quite well, in my opinion, given everything going on with the L2s. But they say it was already a dark year for Ethereum. And now with Uniswap's departure, there's a major challenge. This is not a technical shift. This jeopardizes the sustainability of Ethereum's scaling strategy. Listen, Ethereum is going through a transition. Obviously, they're going to have to find a way to now capture some more value from the L2s. Uniswap has been the engine powering Ethereum's decentralized exchange activity. 75% of all DEX volume has gone through Uniswap. 2.4 trillion in transactions. $2.4 trillion in transactions, and generating almost $4 billion in fees. The Ethereum network validators, they rely on transaction fees, obviously, to sustain operations, as do validators on most chains, although most chains, not Ethereum, are simply paying their validators in inflation, which is totally not sustainable. So that's why I'm not that worried about ETH. ETH actually has revenue, but they're saying they could lose an estimated 400 to 500 million per year just because of the departure of Uniswap. And, how are they going to possibly make up for that? Given that their daily active wallets have been diminishing, more and more activity is being kicked out to Base, Arbitrum, and the others. And here's the specifics of why that might be scary if you're already worried about ETH. They're saying Uniswap's universal router is the number one account for gas fee consumption, right? Gas fees are how primarily the L1 makes its money. The other part here that's of interest to the tokenomics experts who believe token burns are the most important thing about tokenomics. That's 1.6 billion worth of burned ETH due to activity on Uniswap. So you got to look at blockchain in two ways. You got to look at it from the L1 perspective. That's the base layer. That's Ethereum, right? That's the network. That's the platform where all these apps are built on, and the apps are the next level, right? Fees can be generated by the apps. That goes to development of the apps, paying out the participants who make that app work better. And then there's the fees that are collected on the base layer, right? So I've seen data that shows that if Uniswap generated more in fees for the Ethereum validators than it even generated for itself, right? And I think there has to be a rebalancing. Do I think that launching an L2 is the only way to do it? No, but you could understand that Uniswap wants to keep some of that value for itself. The trend is L2 scaling. Um, I'm sure they thought about it long and hard and realized this is the best way. Who am I to question the the powers that be behind the wonderful Uniswap application, which is the reason why most people are in crypto right now, I would imagine. This article saying that the token holders captured less than 1% of the total value created by Uniswap, right? And that's why the Uni token is very relevant here. Is it going to accrue a lot more of the value now that we have friendly regulations? We know that tokens struggle to capture value. Uniswap is one of the few apps in crypto that makes a ton of revenue, and now it's going to be keeping more of that. Do the Uni token holders have some upside here? Is this a token we should be looking at for our portfolio after years of me saying there's no reason for it to exist? Maybe. And this is a trend that we'll just have to stay on top of. Thanks.